Thank you, Dr. McMahon, Board of Trustees, esteemed faculty, proud families, and a very special thank you to Kettering University's graduating class of 2024. I would like to extend my sincere, heartfelt congratulations. It's been 21 years since I sat in your chair, but I distinctly remember how hard the journey was. What you have accomplished is extraordinary. Again, congratulations. Now, I'd also like to take this time to thank your parents. I suspect if your parents are anything like mine, they may have participated in some of the more stressful days of this journey, and in some instances, even help fund it. So, please, congratulations to the parents. They're almost off the payroll. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here with you today. I was humbled when I received the call from Dr. McMahon to be your commencement speaker this year. I quickly learned that drafting a commencement address is daunting. There are rightfully so awesome expectations around these speeches. I watched more than 40 commencement addresses in preparation of this one. It's the Kettering work ethic. So as I put pen to paper, I oddly felt like I was back in the classroom. The last sneaky assignment from Kettering University 21 years after my graduation. So if you harbor the belief that you have completed your last assignment from Kettering University, let me serve as Exhibit A. That may not be the case. In all seriousness, Dr. McMahon and I had dinner in February. I had the opportunity to ask him what makes for a great commencement address, and he said, true story. It would be wonderful if you could do a speech like Conan O'Brien at Dartmouth or Steve Jobs at Stanford. Lofty. So I went to YouTube. I watched both of these speeches. Conan gave 20 minutes of some of the best comedy that you have ever seen. Steve Jobs provided insights from what is likely one of the greatest technological innovators of a generation. So to be clear, that is the expectation for my speech. Just do that. Thank you, Dr. McMahon. And it is great to see that Kettering has maintained its high expectations over the years. Sadly, I will not provide an address with the wit of Conan O'Brien nor the wisdom of Steve Jobs. I nor anyone else will be able to share with you the elusive magical bullets on how to achieve success or guide your paths forward. What I do hope to share with you are a few themes that I've observed so far in my life and my career. The reality is, you have no idea where you're going to be 20 years from today. When I sat in your chair, I would have told you I have a 95% confidence interval. I know where I'll be in 20 years' time. As a matter of fact, if you had me write 100 potential career paths, there would have been one conspicuously missing: running casinos in Las Vegas. I had an extraordinary education here. You have had an extraordinary education here. You've developed a skill set, discipline, and expertise that can virtually put you on any career path you desire. Now, I don't believe many of you will end up running in casinos in Las Vegas. I could be wrong, and for the record, I am recruiting. But my path, if nothing else, shows the broad applicability of this education. I recognize most no one remembers their commencement speaker, and if I'm lucky, you'll remember for some crazy reason Kettering chose the casino guy to give your commencement address. So with that in mind, there are 4 themes that I want to quickly share with you. First is the importance of networks, and by that I mean people, not technology. The second is the idea of having a professional competitive advantage. Third, failure. Fourth, soft skills. As it relates to networks, when I look back on my career, I can associate a person with every positive watershed moment. After I was accepted at Kettering, I was facing the reality of having to go to another school. I couldn't get a co-op job. My dream job was to work at the local General Motors Lordstown assembly plant, but they weren't hiring. So my father, to his full credit, who worked at the plant for 48 years, mustered up the courage to go to the plant manager and ask, "Would you make an exception for my son?" After interviewing with him and getting to know him, Herman Moss decided to make an exception, and that changed my life. As I approached graduation from Kettering, it was my dream to go to Stanford. And at the President's Dinner, a Kettering legend, Professor Reg Bell, sat me next to one of our most esteemed alums, Bob Cagle. Bob was an alum of Kettering and Stanford. He got to know me. He gave me advice on the application process to business school. And when I was accepted and I got to Stanford, they said, "You know Bob Cagle, don't you?" That changed my life. And the same really countless examples can be said for my time at Caesars. I haven't applied for or raised my hand for a single promotion. My advancement has come from people that knew me, that knew my work product, and put my name forward for advancements. But this goes beyond just advancing your career. One of the very real challenges you're going to face as you exit Kettering is, how do you continue your education? How do you continue to learn? For me, broadening my network and getting to know people that are different from me, specifically as it relates to personality and technical expertise, has been critical. I learned the hotel business through others. I learned the gaming business through others. I learned the entertainment business through others. In my job, I've had the opportunity to work with talent agents and managers that range from Elton John to Adele. These are big, wickedly talented professionals. They are the true savants of the relationship management business. Now, what makes them great is not an outward strategic objective of growing a network for personal or professional gain. They're innately curious. They want to genuinely learn and connect with those people that they meet. That makes them smarter over time, and they develop meaningful connections that may not have been immediately clear the value that they would provide them when they first met. You can't always predict how a relationship will benefit you, but make no mistake, they're incredible investments. Now, let me be clear. What I am not saying is you need to know people to get ahead. What I am saying is hard work and great results in isolation have diminishing returns. Building relationships and growing a network, for many of us, myself included, can be hard and uncomfortable, especially with people that are different than us. But make no mistake, relationships make the world go around. The earlier you start building a strong network, the sooner and stronger the dividends will be for you. Remember to build and maintain your Rolodex. And I have a note here to explain to the class of 2024 what, in fact, a Rolodex is. You can ask ChatGPT. Professional competitive advantage. I remember when I was in my last year at Kettering, I was just trying to decide where to work at General Motors. And I recall looking at my classmates thinking, how am I going to stand out amongst a group of such extraordinarily talented people? I said, I know, I'll go to business school. So business school I went. Towards the end of business school, I had a similar level of apprehension. I wanted to stay in the Bay Area. I started to apply to local companies like Google. And when I looked at who I was competing with, largely my classmates, I thought, well, this is going to be rather challenging. These people are talented as well. So I started to look at other opportunities. Where can my skill set deliver outsized gains? Where can I have a professional competitive advantage? Never did I think I would end up in Las Vegas. How could that possibly be a fit? The reality is, in Las Vegas, we entertain more than 4 million people a year in our showrooms. We clean more than 8 million rooms a year. We feed more than 14 million people in our restaurants. We deal more than half a billion hands of blackjack alone a year. How do you deliver world-class service at these volumes? It's great processes, robust quality control systems, effective people management strategies. It is bizarrely like manufacturing. Despite that similarity, you don't find engineers in gaming and hospitality. Playing in a space where your strengths are singular and distinctive help you stand out and create value in a way others cannot. The point of all of this being, you can literally do anything. Failure. I will tell you, when it comes to failure, there is an odd fixation around it with commencement addresses. My advice on the matter is to avoid it if all possible. But the reality is we all encounter it. It's not always epic. It comes in a variety of shapes and sizes. The most important aspect of failure is how you handle it. Pardon the cliche, and this is This is not a good one, I admit, but failure is a bit like a lump of coal. If you're able to persevere through your failure and learn from it, the result really is a diamond. And if there's one thing I know, it's that all of you, if nothing else, through your years at Kettering, have learned how to hone the skill of perseverance. I can tell you there is no period in my life when I worked harder than I was at Kettering. And please don't share that with Caesars. Now, there are many stories I can tell you about failure. My most significant was largely personal. Like many individuals in the LGBT community, I struggled with coming out or being open about my identity at work. A bit under a decade ago, I was outed in a way that was not on my own terms. As you can imagine, that was a very difficult position to be in, both personally and professionally. I worried about if the industry was conservative, how this could impact my future. During this time, I kept an unwavering focus on my job. I refused to be distracted. I found there was only what I can describe as an extraordinary level of support across every spectrum, the industry, Caesars, my friends and family. I persevered, and for me, the outcome was transformative. I had a higher level of confidence in myself and more comfort with who I am as an individual. I don't know what failures you will face in your lives, but I do know you'll persevere through them, learn from them, and be better off for having navigated them. No one knows how to work harder or be more disciplined than you. And let me just say, when a school names their mascot General Determination, that says a lot. Now, as it relates to soft skills, up to this point, you've been studying to forge a skill set that makes you a highly competitive technical expert in the fields of business, computer science, and engineering. You should rightly have confidence in your abilities. You're among the best trained and prepared professionals in your field, and as we have established, your work ethic is unparalleled. With that said, and this may be the most salient advice that I bestow upon you, remember to be nice. Remember to be humble, to support others, and to give back. It is frankly mind-blowing to me how these seemingly obvious and intuitive characteristics are becoming more rare. They will make you stand out. They will take you to a higher level of success. Being a technical titan means nothing if people don't want to work with you. My last piece of advice is to make sure you enjoy the journey. The reality is you can persevere through challenging times, and make no mistake, you're going to have to do that. But if you find out there's too much perseverance and not enough fun, you should reevaluate. If you don't like the journey, you're unlikely to enjoy the destination. As you get to where I am, which is likely mid-ish career, you start to realize how important it is to have the right priorities. Chase what is important to you and make sure that the prize is worth it. I'm proud of many things in my life. I'm proud of the sacrifices my parents made to enable me to live the life I have today. And students, it's okay to tell your parents now and when you get older that you love them. I'm proud to have a spouse that makes me happy in ways that were unimaginable. And I'm proud to be an alum of Kettering University, and I'm more proud knowing the quality of the class of 2024. Make no mistake, you all have raised the average. This is among the finest institutions in the world. You know what you've accomplished is hard, and you also know most people could not have done what you have done. Your success now is limited only by your imagination. Congratulations and thank you, Kettering class of 2024.